I'm leaving tomorrow to go to a place I haven't been to in 13 years. Yes, I'm going to Toronto. I'm going for a few conferences that I'll be attending. There's one on Wednesday and another one on Friday. So, yes, I'm going to Toronto for the first time in 13 years. So the last time I was in Toronto was a really bad experience. I used to live in Toronto in 2010, and the first few months of 2011, I was a student at Centennial College studying book and magazine publishing. And, I had relocated for my studies with also the intention of permanently living there because there were a lot more opportunities in the publishing industry in Toronto than in Montreal at the time. So I moved my whole life, my entire life, to Toronto when I was 25. It was an eye-opening experience. I grew a lot. I enjoyed for the first time like living on my own. That was an amazing feeling. At 25, it was a great experience, and becoming a real adult. I was cooking for myself. I had, a nice tight schedule I made for myself. I would work out, go to class. I remember on the weekends, I would go grocery shopping. I would come home in the afternoons after going to the gym. Like, I would go to the gym, then go grocery shopping by bus because I did not drive back then. So, and then in the afternoons, I would marinate my meat and do some meal prep and listen. I would listen to this jazz station every day. I would listen to it. It was either jazz or classical music on the radio. And yeah, I would cook in my kitchen listening to jazz. It was the best feeling, but I was broke. I was so broke. I was broke. I was broke because I was well fed and well dressed, but broke. So once I completed my program, I had to find an internship right before the end of the program. And initially, I was supposed to go do an internship at a magazine in Toronto. I'm trying to remember. It was Style at Home. I had an in at Style at Home because during the fall of 2010, I did we did job shadowing day. And at first, like all the students were placed at different publications, whether they were for print magazines or publishing houses. And initially, my teacher placed me, I don't know where it was. It was not glamorous, but I was like, okay. And I think it was maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks before the actual job shadowing day, I had a one-on-one with my teacher. I think like all students had a one-on-one. And, during my one-on-one, I talked about the job shadowing. And I don't know why, okay, so basically my teacher was, back then her name was Chantel Simmons. Now she's Chantel Shulgin. She's a journalist, she's a writer, and she also does she's also featured in some TV shows, I think, no, it wasn't City TV. It was Marilyn Dennis. So because she's a beauty editor. And I remember walking into her office that day and looking at her outfit. I was like, and I told her like, oh my gosh, this is such a cute outfit. I didn't do it to suck up to her. I actually meant it. I don't give compliments that easily. So when I give a compliment, I mean it. I mean that time. So I looked at her outfit. I was like, "Oh my gosh, such a cute outfit." She was like, "Thank you." And then we were talking about like the class and whatever, and also we started talking about job shadowing. And she was like, she looked at me. She was like, "You know what? I think you'd be a better fit at Style at Home. Let me change that for you." And she just changed me, and I was like, "Okay, favor ain't fair. I'll take it." So during that job shadowing day at Style at Home, like I got really like, I don't know, I felt a good vibe and I had a really good experience. And I had a discussion with one of the editors there, and she basically said that whenever you're ready to do an internship, get in touch with us and we'll make it happen for you. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." But then fast forward like 5 months, and I was so sick of living in Toronto. I was like, "Get me out of here. Just get me out." I was so sick of Toronto. I was back then. I was not built to live in Toronto. I'm from Montreal. Montreal and Toronto are very different, different vibes. And I was homesick. And once you become that homesick, you just like it's like a point of no return. I was annoyed. I was anxious to finish school and to start my career. Back then, I wanted to be a magazine journalist and a writer. I still want to become a writer, but back then I was really, really intent on becoming a magazine journalist. Um, and I was just, I wanted to finish my studies strong, but I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna keep being like broke, I might as well be broke at home. It wasn't that difficult of a decision to make, to be honest, because I'm like, being broke sucks. And the level of broke that I was just, I couldn't stand it. I had MasterCard calling me every day while I was at school. And I kept telling them I'm broke. um, yeah, I had a hard time paying my bills. Like I said, I was well fed, well dressed, but I was behind on some of my bills because I was receiving student loans, but from the province of Quebec, not from Ontario. And Quebec miscalculated the amount that was awarded to me. So they didn't provide enough funds every month. Even though I contested it a few times, they didn't budge. And the cost of living in Toronto is very expensive. Um, And also in Ontario, you have to pay for the winter semester in November. And Quebec usually sends out payments for the winter semester in January. So I was not equipped. I was not equipped. I knew that Toronto was expensive, but I had assumed that Quebec financial aid would be able to cover my all of my tuition fees and living expenses, but they did not. They gave me, I remember how much they gave me. My rent was 600. Yeah. So Quebec would give me $730 every month, the financial aid. My rent was 600. I lived in a basement apartment, and my bus pass was $99. You do the math. So I was living off my credit card. Not a good idea, but I had no choice. And when November came and I got the statement for my tuition fees for the winter semester, I freaked out. Um, I reached out to the financial aid office at school, and they were like, "Sorry, like I wish we could help you, but because you're a Quebec resident, there was some things that they couldn't really like. They couldn't find a loophole for me, so I had to figure it out. I um I applied for a it was a bursary. So basically what I was told when I first started school at Centennial is that there were a lot of scholarships and bursaries available to students. The thing is that a lot of the students are not aware of them. So there's a high probability that if you apply to one, you will get it. So with that in mind, I was like, yo, let me find something to apply for. And I applied for this. I don't know what was the name of the scholarship. I don't know. It was something about achievements, student achievement, something. And I was like, all right, let me just write down my life story. So you had to submit an essay. And in my essay, I included that I was involved in the youth ministry at my church in Montreal. I helped with the personal and spiritual development of teenagers and young adults. And then I included my journey with lupus. And, I was like, okay, I'll do it. I wasn't too sure about putting that in. And I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. So I submitted my essay the day of the deadline, and I had to go to a different campus. I would go to class in the downtown campus, but I had to submit the essay. Well, I had to send it in to the Scarborough office. I actually lived in Scarborough, so it wasn't that much of a big deal to go there from my place. But I literally submitted my essay like in the nick of time. Like, it was crazy. And I was like, yo, they're probably not gonna take it anyways. I'm like, whatever. I'll hand it in. We'll see how it goes. And lo and behold, I won. How much did I win? $2,000, I think. It was $1,000. I think it was $1,000. And I was like, what am I gonna do with that $1,000? At first, I wanted to pay back my mom because she helped me pay my tuition fees. And then I think I told her I was supposed to get a settlement. That's another thing. Before moving to Toronto, I had lost my job under dubious circumstances. Basically, they discriminated against me because of my health. To make a long story short, I was fired because I was deemed that I was not available enough to do shifts, which is a lie. The only restrictions that I had is that I couldn't work more than 6 hours straight, because working standing all day was too tiring for me. I was available Monday through Saturday, and you could place me anywhere, like morning, afternoons, at night. I used to work in retail at a store, and it was never a problem. I never missed one day. And I don't know, at some point they started hiring more people, and the newbies got more hours, and we just got less and less. And I don't know, they came up with some excuse. I don't know. And then what I did is that I filed a complaint at the Human Rights Commission. And we went to mediation in October 2010. I won. I was waiting for my settlement. So technically in November, I was supposed to get my settlement money on top of the scholarship fund that I won. So back then I told my mom that I would keep some of the money to help me pay my expenses. And when the settlement money would come in, I would, give her money back. And she said it was fine. Thank God I kept that money, because the settlement came in a year later. The company that I used to work for, right after I won my case, they filed for Chapter 11. I was waiting on that money just to help me live in Toronto. But anyways, that came in a year later. So I was still broke. So yeah, all of this to say, I went through a lot of ups and downs in Toronto. My last day in Toronto was April 4th. I was able to find an internship in Montreal. So I was so excited to move back home. I sold a lot of my furniture. I sold my kitchen set. Um, what else did I sell? I think I sold a table, a bookcase, stuff like that. And I was supposed to be able to bring back to Montreal most, like I guess a lot of the furniture, like my desk, my chair, they were all pretty brand new, fairly new. I had a TV, all my dishes and cups and whatnots. So the plan was to move, to leave on April 4th and come back during Victoria Day weekend in May to grab the rest of the stuff and have like a truck or something to bring everything back to Montreal. I left Toronto Monday morning, April 4th at 6 a.m. I took a cab. I had all my luggage. I had so many pieces of luggage. Got on a cab, and I kid you not, Juicy came on the radio. It was all a dream. I kid you not. And it did feel like it was a dream. And it was snowing. It was dark outside. It was surreal. It was a surreal moment. I get to the megabus terminal, downtown Toronto, and the megabus driver looks at me and he's like, "You've got too much luggage. You can't get on the bus with that much luggage." So I played dumb. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Like, I really didn't know." And I don't know. God's grace is on me. Favor ain't fair, like I said. And the bus driver's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna give you a warning this time, okay? But like, don't do this again." And I'm like, "No, I won't do it again." And I remember thinking, yeah, because this last time I'm taking the mega bus. And it turns out that 13 years later, it's a lie because I'll be taking Megabus to go to Toronto tomorrow with only one big piece of luggage. I've learned my lesson. I'm not moving my entire life to another city again, so it will not happen. I will not have any problems with the bus driver, so it should be an interesting trip. I'm leaving tomorrow. My bus leaves at 8 in the morning, and finding a ride at 6 a.m. to take you to a bus stop, to a bus terminal, is tricky. And I was like, okay, what are my options to lug my luggage on the bus in the metro to go to the bus terminal? It's not ideal. It's not impossible. It's a pain in the butt, but I could do it, but I didn't want to do it. So I asked one of my friends who I know usually works downtown, and she works really early in the morning. So I asked her this morning, like, "Yeah, if you're working tomorrow, you think you could drop me off?" And then she was like, "Usually I would be, but I've been kind of reaffected to another area of the city for a while, so I won't be downtown." I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna take the bus and the metro with my luggage at 6 a.m. It'll be fine." And maybe an hour ago, to like an hour and a half ago, the same friend contacted me to let me know that she has a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning, and it's not too far from downtown, and that she would be able to drop me off. But her appointment is at 9:30, and I'm like, "Yeah, but I have to be at the bus terminal at 7:30. So I was like, "Dang, I'm so close, so close." And then she said, "Oh, that's fine. I'll just leave earlier and find parking." When I tell you, I dropped to the floor, like literally, like I laid my body on the floor just to give God the glory. Just to give him the glory he deserves. My God don't play about me. I knew that I was going to find a way to make it to the bus terminal tomorrow morning, even if it would be more time consuming and require more effort. But I knew there was going to be a way. But I did not expect God to come through. Like, yes, I did expect him to come through, but I'm just happy he did. I'm just happy he did. So to God be the glory. I will not be taking the bus and metro to go downtown to the bus terminal. So I'm very glad. And I was able to find a ride to come back to Montreal. Once I come back to Montreal, another one of my friends will be able to come pick me up, drop me off at home. So all is well. All is well. Finally made it to my hotel. I'm exhausted. I woke up at 5:30. My friend dropped me off at the bus terminal downtown Montreal. She dropped me off, it was like 7:30. The bus was leaving at 8. And then the bus arrived in Toronto early. I think it was 2:25. We were supposed to get here at 3. So I was like, yay, like I'm early. Well, the thing is, I had to go take a train from Union Station all the way to the airport, Pearson, because the airport is close to the car rental place. And then getting there was, getting from Union Station to the boarding spot for the train was a bit tricky. It was like my luggage is really heavy. I don't know how to pack light. That's on me. But there was a lot of walking involved. So by the time I got to the train, the up train, the one that takes you, the express train that goes to Pearson Airport, I was schwitzing. I was sweaty, and I'm wearing like a turtleneck dress. Never mind this. This is my pin that I was using for my hair. Yes, so I was hot. So the train took about 30 minutes to get to the airport, and once I got to the airport, I had to find the exit so I could take an Uber to go to the car rental place, because normally the hotel would provide a shuttle from the airport to the car rental place, but shuttle services are suspended. So I took an Uber, get there, grab the car, then get in the car, a really nice car, very nice. But I don't know, for some reason the GPS kept rerouting me, and it took me longer than expected to get to the hotel room. And now I'm finally at the hotel. Pretty sure I parked in the wrong parking lot. That's right next to the hotel, but that's fine. I have to get ready to go to the conference number 1 at with Professionnelle house. I don't know how I'm gonna make it. I'm exhausted, but I'm gonna fix myself up and yeah, get ready to go. Today is Thursday. I don't have any conferences today, so I'm just in my hotel room trying to get some work done. Black Friday is tomorrow, and there are a lot of promotional emails that need to be sent out for my clients. Right now, I was just cleaning up some mailing lists that I imported in HubSpot. Yesterday I set up all the SMS campaigns for our high intent list. I think a couple of days ago I sent a special offer to our low intent list to try to get them to shop and to get them to move to the high intent list somehow. So yeah, there's lots to do. Black Friday is always a chaotic season, and the fact that I was traveling, I mean, it's not that it made it a bit more difficult, it's just that I had planned on working on my way to Toronto because I was taking the bus. You know, what was it, a 6-hour ride? About a 6-hour ride. So I'm like, there's plenty of time to get work done. But when I got on the bus, I was so exhausted. I ate my breakfast and then kind of dozed off, and then started working around 10, I think. And then I think around 1, I started feeling nauseous and lightheaded, probably from the fatigue. So I stopped doing any work. And then yesterday, when I got to my room, it was kind of late because of the, how can I say this? Anyways, it took me a while to get to my hotel room, to get the car at the rental place and all that. And then last night I had a conference at Professionnelle house. Couldn't find the spot. I was close. The GPS kept telling me that I was close. Couldn't find it. And then I had to ask a lady who was standing outside on her cigarette break, and I asked her, like, do you know where the address is? She was like, I'm not sure, I can't really see. And then I asked her, like, what is the address? What's the number, like, where she works? And she was able to help me find the location of the workshop, which was like almost next door. So I came in just in time. It was a great event, a very intimate setting. There weren't that many of us there, so it was very conversational. Really allowed us to ask questions and to talk to Danielle Spencer, who owns some creative agency. She was able to talk to us about her business ventures and how she got into marketing, and you know, how the kind of work that she does for her clients. And I was really excited to go because I've been following her for maybe about a year. I attended a webinar, I think it was last year or earlier this year, and she hosted a webinar, and there were different panelists, and I just thought it was so cool. So I started following her agency online, and then following her on Instagram as well. So I was really excited. There were previous events that I wasn't able to attend, so I'm glad I was able to attend this one, even though like I didn't get lost. It's just that it took me longer to get there. And then I had to turn, when I turned on my GPS, I had to go into the settings and select avoid tolls, because once I got out of the car rental place, I started driving, and then I ended up taking a toll highway. I was like, what? And I was looking at, there was this little sign in the car regarding toll fees, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So yeah, they're gonna charge me for that. So I'm like, I'm not going through another toll. And because of that, instead of taking 15 minutes to get to the venue yesterday, it took 38 minutes, which is fine. So yeah, today, no conferences. I'm just really focusing on work. I have some product descriptions to do for another client as well. I have a deadline on the 4th. It's something I'm used to doing, mostly clothing for this fashion brand. It's just that the time is not on my side. Time is not on my side, but also I wanted to come to the conferences, both conferences. There's a conference tomorrow night. You know, I really wanted to set time this week to go to these conferences and maybe just venture out a little bit in Toronto, since I haven't been officially in 13 years, but I did have 2 layovers in Toronto, maybe like almost 10 years ago or something like that. I think 2015 when I went to Chicago, there was a layover in Toronto, and then that same year I went to Boston, there was a layover in Toronto. Physically, I was in Toronto. I was just not out and about in Toronto. so I guess it's not like officially like being there. Anyways, yeah, so I am fully here. And yeah, I guess there are parts of living in Toronto that maybe like I did miss, parts, not the whole thing. Later today, hopefully I'll have time. I wanted to go back to my old stomping grounds, Scarborough. Wanted to go to, now it's called Scarborough City Center. It used to be called Scarborough Town Center. That was a mall that I really enjoyed going to. So I'll be able to drive there, which I've never done before. So that should be interesting. I'll wait until the traffic slows down a little bit, maybe around like 6:37. I'll go over there just to roam and just to reminisce a little bit. Then I'll head back at some point, maybe 8, maybe 7:30, depends if I get annoyed or if I get too hot because I'm wearing my winter coat. Anyways, I'll see. So I'll get back to work. Also, I had planned on getting some workouts in while I'm staying here. You know, I brought my gear, my workout gear and all of that. And this morning, I had planned on waking up earlier, but I couldn't because I was so exhausted. So after breakfast, I went to the fitness center. When I tell you, listen, they're doing the best they can with what they got. They have 3 cardio machines and 1 contraption that does a lot of like, I don't know, exercises for the upper body and all of that. There are 2 TV sets that do not work. There's no air conditioning. It's like the bare minimum. They have some mats. They have 2 free weights, 5 pounds. They have towels for everyone and a water dispenser machine and some wipes. They have the bare minimum. I mean, it was enough. I mean, this morning I didn't do much. You know, a bit of cardio and some exercises like down on the mat, but yeah, fitness center. Like I said, I mean, they could have not had one, you know, period. But yeah, I had to work with what I had, and it wasn't a long workout anyways. I just wanted to get moving. You know, I was sitting down for like 6 hours yesterday. I did get up from time to time, and the walk I did from Union Station, like the bus terminal, to the up train station was a workout. Like carrying my luggage, my back was hurting, my shoulder was killing me. There was a lot of walking involved, so it was, listen, I'll count it as a workout. So yeah, tomorrow morning, God willing, I will be going back to the fitness center. I'll go earlier because I do want to go downtown tomorrow. I had planned on going today, but it's just, I woke up too late, you know, and there wouldn't be enough time. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I already kind of selected 2 places that I wanted to go work at, like 2 coffee shops. We'll see how that goes. And then tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, I have the other conference. It's a creator meetup with this influencer. So yeah, that's what the rest of my week looks like.
Impressive. I'm a little intense. So I actually took a course in facial aesthetics to learn the science behind skincare. Do I even remember? I remember the first major one. The first major one was with CeraVe. And it's so funny, when I came to Canada, I started creating skincare content because in Canada I was dealing with my skin. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to talk about skincare.
Just want to do a quick recap of my 4 days in Toronto. Overall, it was a good trip. You know, I was reticent about going back to Toronto considering my history with the city, but overall the trip was fine. It was good. It in some way it felt good to go back, I guess. I feel that everything that's happened in the past, back in 2010 and 2011, is kind of like water under the bridge. Yeah, overall, the trip was a success. Was I tired? Yes. Was I busy? Yes. Actually, the second conference I attended, it was hosted by SoPlugged. They host a few content creator events and networking events. So I went there, and on my way there, the tire pressure indicator lit up while I was driving. I was like 10 minutes away, and I started freaking out. So I had to go to the nearest gas station ASAP to get that fixed. I was freaking out because I'm driving, like, I was not driving my own car. Like, I rented a car. So every day, every time I had to step behind the wheel, I was a bit anxious because I'm like, yo, this is not my car. This is not my car. I don't want anything happening to my car. And I think I may have mentioned it that the minute I stepped out with the car, like leaving the parking lot, like of the hotel, like my first day with the car, two cars almost hit me. So I was really on pins and needles driving that car for those 4 days. So I get to the location. I get close to the location of the event, and networking event, or the content creator event, and I just can't seem to find the address. Again, same thing happened with the first conference I attended, the workshop that I attended on Wednesday. Yeah, so it took me a while to find the address, and then come to find out, in the reminder email for the event, they actually give you directions on how to find the address. So I get there late. It was not late. Well, late, yes. I think I was about maybe half an hour late, 20 minutes late, because of all the shenanigans I had to go through with the tires of the car. So I get there, it's cold. It's like, it was so windy. It wasn't like, there was a bit of snow, but like the kind of snow that's dusty, like it didn't like stay on the ground or anything, but it was really cold. I was very glad that I was wearing my winter coat for the whole trip, because the wind, oh my gosh, the wind in Toronto is something else. It is something else. You know, it's not as humid as in Montreal, like the weather, but the wind in Toronto is something else. So I get to the event, and I'm like one of the last people to come in, because I saw, like, I guess 2 other cars, I think, that parked just like a little before mine, like before I did. And I think they had a hard time finding the address as well. So, you know, I was able to find a spot like at the back of the location to sit. And there was like a nice, like, I guess it wasn't really a charcuterie board, but there were a lot of like hors d'oeuvres and whatnot, some drinks. And, you know, I just wanted to sit down. Um, you know, I was attending the event, and it was a fireside chat type of format with this content creator named Tosin. I don't remember her last name. So while I was there, I was looking around at the audience and I was like, wow, like there's a lot of Gen Z. I'm like, okay, all right, cool, cool. I think when I got there it was about like 7 or maybe like quarter to 7, and I was beat. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. Um, and I'm like, how long is this thing going to last? Like, when is this thing ending? Because I was exhausted, like to the point where I couldn't really enjoy myself. Um, and I had a lot in my mind as well because I was like, okay, as soon as I get back to the hotel, I have to finish packing, and I'm like, I have to eat dinner and then finish packing. So I was just not there. Like I was physically there, but mentally I wasn't really there because I was just tired. I was like, you know what? It is time to go home. Like home, 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 Montreal, home, RDP, home in my home. Like I was like I had reached my limit. Whenever I travel, like I reached that limit like towards like the end of the trip where I'm like, yeah, home would feel nice right now. So I hit my limit as soon as I got out of the car when I parked to go to that location for that event. And I'm like, yo, the point of going to these events is to network and get to know other people and, talk about what I do and, see how we can connect and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I want to go home. I want to go home. So I told myself, you know what? Yes, it sucks. I won't really um, engage with the other content creators that were present at the events or like chit chat, whatever. I'm like, you know what? I came, I saw, I conquered. Now I got to go home. So as soon as the event ended, there was a Q&A, and I was like, so, and it took forever. It took forever, like, and I am grateful to have attended. There was a lot of good insights that were shared by Tosin. I was able to look her up, something I should have done before going to the event, but I had a hectic week before going to Toronto. So I looked her up quickly online during the events, and yeah, she works with a lot of big brands, and she has created a following for herself. So she's been successful at what she does. And yeah, a lot of the questions were really informative, and her answers as well. And to hear also from people in the audience from their own experiences as content creators. So it wasn't a complete loss. It was not a loss at all. It's just, yes, I didn't get to benefit from the social aspect of the event. But like I said, um, I was beat. I was pooped. I was just like, I need to just go somewhere comfy, take off my makeup, and just get ready for my departure. So yeah, as soon as the event ended, grabbed my coat and left. Um, Thankfully, it was like 20 minutes away from my hotel, so that was good. Um, I was ready. I was just ready to go. Then when I got back to my hotel room, I called my mom, and I accidentally called my sister. So I was like, okay, I was talking and packing at the same time. You know, it was a very busy evening, and then the next morning, I think I got up like it was 6:30 or something like that. Grabbed breakfast at the hotel. They had a continental breakfast, and then I had to return the car by 9. And on my way to dropping off the car, the police had blocked one of the streets that I had to take to get to the car rental place. So I'm like, I need to go. I just need to go. I just need to go somewhere. I just need to be on my way. Anyways, I was able to take a detour thanks to the GPS. Dropped off the car. I had planned on taking an Uber from the car rental place to get to the airport, where I would take the train, the Up Express train, to take me to Union Station to then get on the megabus bus. And fortunately, the car rental place offered to take me with their shuttle, which is amazing because I saved money. The whole point of the trip was to try to find ways to save money, which is why I brought my food with me in my luggage for the trip. Anyways, I was able to save money thanks to the shuttle, get to the airport, get on the Up Express train, and then get to the Union Station terminal. Walking from the Up Express train station to the Union Station to get to Megabus was not as bad as the other way around on Wednesday, when I had to figure out where the the station for the Up train was. Anyways, so yeah, it was it was quite a day on Saturday. And I just couldn't wait to be home. And then when I got to Montreal, downtown Montreal, um, my friend was supposed to come pick me up, and she got delayed. So we got to Montreal. It was almost 6. It was a quarter to 6 p.m. And I got home. It was 7:30, I think. I was like, I just want to go home. As soon as I got home, I put my luggage somewhere. I took a shower because I was like, I just want to be home. I just want to be home. So yeah. Will I go back to Toronto? Yes. Yes. I will definitely go back. Living in Toronto and visiting Toronto are two different experiences, obviously. But living in Toronto was not something that really suited me. But visiting Toronto right now, I would not be opposed to that. Um, and that's big for me to say that, considering how my experience ended in Toronto back in 2011. But like I said, water under the bridge. So Toronto has redeemed itself in a way, in a bit, like a little bit. I would go back. I don't think I would be able to live in Toronto because of the high cost of living there anyways, and also the culture is very different. I tried it. It didn't work out for me. It was different circumstances. I was a broke student. I'm no longer a broke student, so things have changed for me. But I don't know. I don't know. I still love Montreal very much. I'm attached to Montreal. There's, a different culture between Montreal and Toronto. But who knows what God has in store for me. So we'll see.